You have an incredible diversity of flow, from rapid fire on Necessary Evil to slow flow on Real Man. How have you developed such a wide range of cadences?
Man, uh, you know, I've been I've been doing it for a long time, man. Like a lot of people don't know, but yeah, I've been writing for over a decade. I've been recording since I was 10. So, just fooling around with a lot of different. At first, it was like all slower stuff, and then I started listening to like Twista and Tech Nine, a lot of those dudes where I'm like, let me let me see how far I can go. That's like a lot what I think uh, when I'm making the music. It's like even I'll bring it to like a scheme. Like if I think of like a rhyme scheme I want to do, I'll kind of push myself to like the longest I can do it for. Like I don't like to be constantly changing the rhyme scheme because I'm still thinking of stuff. So it's like with flows, when I started going a little bit faster, I'm like, let me see how far I can take it, and it gets faster and faster. But I'm not like Mr. Fast all the time. Like I like the fact that it's diverse, but I kind of just like to test myself.
So how do you decide when you're gonna do it fast or slow it down?
It's all it's all the vibe of the record. It's really what the beat dictates for me, um, and what I'm trying to get across. A lot of the songs where I'm just kind of showing off the lyrical stuff, I'll speed it up a little bit, then slow it down and go back and forth. But when I'm really trying to convey a specific message, I want to make sure the listener can hear it perfectly. So I probably won't go wicked fast.
So there's a perception that MCs your age are less focused on lyricism. That clearly does not apply to you.
Yeah.
So what does wordplay? Why does wordplay mean so much to you?
Hmm. Well, I fell in love with wordplay when I was in like fifth grade, and that was just because of the artists I was listening to, and my sister writes. My mom is like a fantastic writer, and I was always learning big words, and I was always interested in words when I was younger, and I don't know why specifically, man. I just remember being in fifth grade and discovering like Slaughterhouse and like Ludacris, and just falling in love with breaking down words and repeating consonants and vowel sounds. It's just something I just took a huge interest in, and I just incorporated it within my own music.
So on self-taught, you say you've been learning that what's running your generation is fear.
Yeah,
Fear of what?
fear of being judged. I think that my generation is so vulnerable a lot because of social media, because they, you know, put themselves out there so much, and it's to the point where I was actually talking to my friend the other day about this, that you know the idea of likes is so crazy, and people wonder why there's so many people my age who are like already depressed and anxious all the time. It's like because there's people in my school like who post a picture on Instagram and get a certain amount of likes, but then see this other girl who may be more popular, who's getting way more likes, and that is their worth to them. Before it's like, okay, you can tell if someone's more popular than you, but it's not like you sense it. Now it's like there it is, the likes, how popular you are, how many people care about you, and we're kids, man, and people look too much into that, and people are afraid of that, and I feel like that's a huge reason why so many people my age are sad, and I really feel like people don't talk about it. It's insane, and that's a lot where happiness was came about, because I look at all these people that seem like they have like the perfect life, and then I hear these stories about the medication they're taking for depression and all this other stuff, and I think a lot of it is because of social media and just the way everyone just puts herself out there and is just easily judged.
It's interesting you say that because those likes are like quick shots of dopamine,
Yeah,
and every time you get one, it feels great, but then you crave more, and
yeah,
so it becomes a vicious cycle. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Your music seems to have been a form of therapy for you from an early age. How has it helped you cope with life struggles?
Um, it's a big question. Um, I mean, yeah, I started writing. I started writing for myself. No one knew when I began writing. I began writing when I was in first grade. I started recording when I was in fifth grade. I never even wanted to put it out there until my friend found it and was like, "You need to put it out there." Um, Before I became real dedicated with music, I was getting into a lot of trouble. I was hanging around kids who were a lot older than me who uh, were doing stuff that like I shouldn't have been a part of, and kind of seeking affection and attention in other ways because I didn't like the person I was, and I was seeking love from the outside rather than looking at it from the inside. And the music began to make me feel invincible. And the idea of Token was like, the idea of Token is that I'm different, right? When I was younger, my biggest insecurity is that I'm so different. Token was different, that's good. And that's why when I'm walking down the street, just kind of doing like boastful flows and stuff like that, it's more than just, oh, he's just rapping about how good he is. That's what Token represents, and it's not only how good he is, it's that it's confidence, and it's what I lacked the most when I was a younger kid. And now I'm not getting in trouble. Like I'm staying out of certain things. I haven't done a lot of things that I used to do, and my life is really ran by the music.
You talk a lot about a lot of heavy issues in your music, from depression to anxiety to bullying to divorce,
Yeah.
shootings. What gives you the courage to rap about these things from such an honest place?
I mean, I feel like that's my duty is to be honest, and I just feel like I have a lot of stuff to say. I feel like I have a unique perspective, especially in my generation, and I could go into all those specifically, but say for like the bullying record on Exception, that has been something that I've looked into for a while, and especially kids who I went to school with. You know, it's called Exception because a lot of people I went to school with think that like my school was like the exception. Like there's no real bullying here, and bullying comes in like a lot of different ways, and that's what I wrote about. So it's really just feeling that I have a unique perspective, and I think I have a lot of important stuff to say, and that's my duty to put it out there and not help my own life just with hip hop, but help other people as well.
So you just turned 18,
I did.
but your perspective is way, way beyond your years. Where does that come from?
I think that's just how I am, man. I've always felt like I was older than I was. I remember being in like kindergarten, being like, I don't relate to any of these kids. My friends, it's only recently where my like group of friends is my age. You know, before this it was all people older than me, especially when I got into music. I was hanging around people who were like a decade older than me too, you know. So I don't it's a combination of, I guess, stuff that I was around when I was younger. I don't really know. I just think that's who I am. I'm a dweller. I think a lot, and I have very strong opinions because of it, and I think that's the reason.
On happiness, you say you don't know what happiness is, but what are some things that do make you happy right now?
I'm happy that people like the project. I'm happy that my mom and my dad are proud of me. I'm happy that my grandma can brag to her friends about her grandson. I got a lot of things to be happy for, and I gotta remind myself that a lot of the time too. It's interesting. I don't know if I should be saying this, but like yesterday, I was like real tired, because I haven't got a lot of sleep after the release and stuff, and I'm like, man, like, gotta go to New York and do all this stuff, and then on the way here, I was like, I'm so blessed to be doing this stuff, man. Like, this is all happening from what I love to do. Like, other kids are waking up and going to school. Not that I'm still not doing schoolwork, but it's just this is it. This is it. So I just gotta continue counting my blessings.
It's a gift and a curse, right?
It's definitely a gift and a curse, but I gotta remember that the gift is a main piece of it.
Right. So the album has multiple producers on it, but it sounds really cohesive. Was that by design? How did you achieve that?
I mean, the project had been in the works for a really long time. Some of the beats we had for like a couple years, a few years maybe. So, we made a lot of music for it, but there were specific messages I wanted to put out. So I just wanted to make sure that there was no repetition within the project and each song represented something. And I think that's why it's cohesive, because it's like all elements of my brain. It's not like focused on one part and then something just random over there. It's like everything. And I think the fact that it's everything, it's super diverse, it comes together at the end and makes it like one thing.
So many of the producers are older than you. What did you learn from them working with them?
I mean, John Glass, who produced, I think, like 6 songs off the project, was the first producer I ever worked with, and he was the first person I ever been in the studio with, and I was like watching beats get made, which is like crazy. I've always wanted to get into production, and I did for a little bit, and I still plan on it, but right now I feel like isn't the time that I have other stuff I should focus on. But yeah, and I started working with a lot of new producers, like my boy Knox Beats from New Hampshire, and Knots, Clint Sparks, a lot of people, and it just all came together at the end.
Who are top 3 producers you'd like to work with that you haven't yet?
Oh man, I have to say Premier. Premier's my dude too, so that's gotta happen. I would say The Alchemist, and man, yo, I'm blanking out. Who's Run the Jewels guy?
LP.
LP is insane. I would love to do something with LP.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll help you out with a few of those. So yeah.
Okay, great. Great.
In the Happiness video, you had pictures of Biggie and Tupac, and you mentioned some of the artists you were listening to before. Who are some of your biggest influences?
So the first 3 guys I ever started listening to in hip hop were Tupac, Eminem, and Ludacris. Those were like my biggest influence. I still would say they are my biggest influences, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I'd be here. A lot of other guys who after that I was looking up to: Jay, Nas, Talib Kweli, Slaughterhouse. I really like a lot of the new guys. I like Chance, Kendrick, Cole, a lot of people, but I would say my top 3 were Luda, M, and Pac.
So those are 3 very different kind of MCs.
Yeah.
What was it about each one that inspired you?
I think Pac, it was how real he was, and the fact, I think all of them, to me, it was like, after I listened to one of their songs, I felt like I had a conversation with them, and I felt like I knew the person they were. Pac, it was just so real, and I could feel the emotion. Like, his songs were just give me goosebumps. Eminem, a similar thing. I was an angry kid, and so was M. So I related to a lot of stuff he was saying. And Ludacris was a lot just like the fun style and the humor behind it, because I've always had a sense of humor, and I related to that.
So you on Killer Will with Big Daddy Kane and Joel Ortiz.
Yeah.
How was it to be on a record with veterans like that?
Insane, man. Like, insane. Like, when that request came in, I didn't believe it. Like I didn't believe it. And Joel, um, is one of my favorites. Kane I got into a little bit later. Um, so, but Joel is like I when I saw them live when I think I was 13, and I like almost cried. I literally almost cried. Just cause I was such big fans of them that I would like watch every single interview they done and every single song. Cause I just love what they represented. At that point, I was really, really into like bringing the real hip hop back. That was like my thing. That was what I was so into, and that's just what they represented to me. So that was a dream come true. Just the fact that Joel and I stay in touch and he's a supporter is mind blowing to me. It's one of those things that doesn't really sink in yet.
On Master Form, you say, "You older rappers are goners. I'm faster and stronger. I'll blow you out the water." Given your clear respect for those who come before you, what inspired that line?
That was just the token that feels he's invincible and feels that no one can touch him. I think that line specifically, I wrote that a while ago, but like a pet peeve of mine is a lot of dudes who come up to me and who talk down to me to the point where it's that my respect for them goes down, and I respect the OGs and I have full respect for the people who came before me, but to the point where it's like, what you're doing is nothing, and like you haven't even put in work yet. I don't like that.
You say you're 17 or actually 18 now with
18
the mentality of a 40-year-old who never made it. What is that mentality?
Well, that's on Mama's Favorite Chair. That song is just like my most petty, bitter song like ever. That was just like I took one emotion that I had one day and I just like examined it and decided that that's the person I wanted to represent, which is just like an angry like fuck everything, like I'm just gonna stay in my house and write this music, like so that's just me when I'm like feel like I don't get the credit I deserve, but that's not me as a whole. That's just like one, emotion I had.
So you show multiple sides on
yeah.
different songs.
I mean, and that's a perfect example because Mama's Favorite Chair is like a very distinct person. Perfect is a very distinct person. Master Form is a very distinct person. All these people together is who Token is.
Last spring on Sway in the Morning, you gave one of the most incredible ciphers verses of the year, and you could see the emotion that was running through you when you stepped up to the mic. What was going through your head, and how long did you prepare for that?
Oh man, I don't even know what was going through my head. Like, is this really like happening? What was going through my head? I prepared for that at least a month, right? Maybe more than a month. Just because when I heard that was even an option, I made the decision that this was gonna be the biggest thing I've ever done in my career. Like, this is too big for me personally. This is too much of a dream to not make this huge for my career. So I went crazy with writing, and I don't know if you know the story, but I actually had double the material planned. I had 250 bars. I literally had 12 minutes planned. People could vouch for me. I've done it in front of them. And then the day before, I was told that it wasn't my own segment, that it was a cipher. And I was like, I can't do 250 bars in a cipher. They're just going to hate me. So I really had three options, were to back down and say, let's wait till we get our own segment. But that was like out of the question because I didn't want people to think that, Token feels like he's too good for the cipher, because that just wasn't the case. It just wasn't what I was prepared for. And then it was to take, the other option was to take like old verses I had that were like, 16 or 24 bars that were like cool, but not the best I could have done. Or it was like rearrange this whole 250 bars and take the most potent parts literally the day before. Keep in mind this is the day before, and just turn it into 100, and that's what I did. And it was it sucked. It sucked that day, just like losing my mind. Like I prepared so long, and I'm like, this needs to go there, this needs to go there. I was like practicing the ride there. It was like crazy, but um, it worked out. It all worked out, and insane, man. That's history. I'm gonna remember that moment forever.
Even with those 100 bars, you could see in the room, everyone was like, "What the fuck
Yeah.
just happened?" Like it was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
What happened to those other 150 bars?
Um, I think they're still there. Uh, I don't remember them. I wonder if I probably put some of them in some other songs, but I don't know.
1 month for one verse. That's dedication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely, definitely. I had to, man. It was like it had to be done.
Real Man off of Racist Shavings is very different in sound and subject matter.
Mhm.
What inspired that?
So Real Man talks about um, me getting into selling weed when I was a younger kid, and just talking about the peer pressure and how it kind of brainwashed me and took my mind off of music, and how it gave me this false confidence of being a real man. Seeing all the money and the power of people finally liking me because I had what they wanted on me. And I don't smoke, so that attracted, the person who got me into it was like, we could make some money, and I'm really really not proud of it, but it brought out a good song, and it taught me a lot. I'm so happy that I ended up uh, getting in trouble for it, because I learned so much from the experience. And I think that uh, money has always been for me like too much of something to rely on, and I don't know if that's because fights from my parents about money, or being in a town where people had a lot more money than I did, but that's one of the main reasons why I got so heavily into it and I started relying on it so much. And I'm just happy that that came to an end, and now I can look at it for what it was and know that I'll never do something like that again.
So it must feel amazing to be making money off the thing that you've dedicated your life to, and that has been therapeutic for you, and you didn't even think you were going to share with the world. But
Mhm.
now it's going to be something that makes you a lot of money. How does that make you feel?
It's incredible. I don't. That's incredible that I can make money off of it. It's more about what's incredible is the biggest thing that the biggest thing for me is that how many people it brings together. That I have my like biggest thing that I love to see is people from all elements of my world come together, and like just at the my release party, it was like my friends from you know my town, like my my close personal friends, and then a lot of my hip hop friends, then my manager, then these artists I look up to, all in the same room. My engineer, everyone is meeting each other, and that just like nothing gives me like happiness more than that. It's just bringing everybody together. So the fact that I can make money off of this is like insane, and it's amazing. But I just gotta remember that there's a lot more to it than the money, and that love is so real, man. It's like it's crazy how music, not music itself, but what music has brought out of me has opened my eyes so much to love, and uh, bringing people together, and it's just it has grown me. That was horrible vocab right there. I have grown a lot, so much from this whole experience, and it's amazing.
Another gift and the curse moment is you talked a lot about the friends and family and connections just brought together. But one of the running themes on Just a Couple More Words is the connections you've lost over the last few years because of how much you've been dedicated to your career. So, how much have you sacrificed in pursuit of your art?
I've sacrificed, damn near everything that doesn't relate to the music, and some things I regret, some things I knew had to be done. I'm definitely getting better at staying in touch with people more, but I have this mentality of, I need to work harder than the next person, which is another gift and a curse because it takes up a lot of my time. When I was younger, now I can't even really afford. Now I don't have the possibility to be as social as I can because I'm running around more. I'm going on tour soon. Like, I'm gonna be away. I wish I put in a little bit more time just to, maybe go to a party, or maybe, keep in touch with my friends before they went to college, a little bit more. But I'm learning. I'm still young, and everything is real new to me. So I'm just trying to stay in touch with people more, and because I owe that to them, and I can't let the music give me this not ego, but this sense of like I have more important things to be doing, because it's really not. It's like the love is what's the most important thing, and I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah. As your career gains momentum, you're going on tour soon. You're going to be doing more stuff. How is it that you're balancing that with school?
Well, I do the online classes now, so that's really it. Because of the online classes, I can do it at my leisure and do it when I have the time. I still have deadlines for certain things, but it makes it a lot easier. But I'm definitely like staying dedicated with that. School has always been a main priority of mine too. School is one of the things that taught me dedication before the music did. So I'm always, up to date with that, and stay focused on that as well.
Eraser Shavings seems to be a reference to rhyme book and revision and the process of creating excellence. So many artists put out everything they do, quantity over quality. Can you talk about the idea of not using just the lead, but also the eraser to be your best?
Yeah. So this is good because I haven't went out and talked about the title. The title is kind of a double meaning. Like you said, it's about the perfectionism, making sure everything is perfect and how I want it to be. And I say in Shavings, I say, I can't even see the page I'm painting. All I see is these eraser shavings. So it's like putting out all this work, not even paying attention to the work, but focusing on the shavings, which is a gift and a curse, which is focusing on the negatives, which is how I run my life a lot, which can be good and which can be bad. But focusing on the negatives allows me to discover the negatives and see what I can do better the next time, and that's why I'm here today. A negative of that is that I'm focusing on my imperfections rather than what I do well. The other idea of eraser shavings is a lot of the things I'm talking about in the project are stuff that I really never talk about in person when it comes to just a couple more words or perfect or exception. It's a lot of things I don't talk about, I don't like to talk about, and things I almost try to erase from my memory, but they're not totally erased, and there's stuff left in there, and that's what to me the shavings represent. Songs like perfect, just a couple more words, exception, shavings, a lot of the things that I don't like to talk about, but they're still there, and here they are, eraser shavings.